Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. Really excited to get our season started. As you can imagine, I think I had more energy on New Year's Eve 2025 turning 2026 than I've had in a few years, after last season, and obviously a disappointment for the program, but just tremendously excited about this group. A lot of depth, a lot of new players, entire new coaching staff, and the amount of work and competitiveness, toughness that we've done to date. It's been really exciting for us. So when we go into the year with something to prove as our mantra, we truly do. I truly do. Everybody's got something to prove within our program, and we're excited to go out and chase that down. But it's going to be a completely different look if you're a fan or in the media. More talented, more athletic. You're going to see a team that's going to run more. We'll probably double and a half our power if I do my job as the hitting coach and Gus does his at the box. But it's a very old, experienced group. 31 new players, and of those 31, 30 are either portal transfers or junior college transfers. So a lot of experience. 5 All-Americans come into the class at the junior college level, and I think what most excites the coaching staff, outside of the work and the way that we've gone about our business, is the experience that we bring in. We can have a conversation about things with guys who have multiple seasons under their belt and hitters who have 150 or 200 at-bats under their belt coming in this season. So our team feels old, and I'm really excited about that. The last thing with an opening statement I would say is I'm really proud of the returning guys that we have here. It was a pretty short meeting day at the end of the season last year of the players that I truly wanted to be a part of the program, and I think those players, their meeting desire request for me was probably the same. And to have Brady and Gus, Zeb and Wash, and Carson, Nico, the players that we've returned back, and Duncan with his personality, they've been at the center of this thing in terms of making it feel right. So proud of these guys, and we'll always take the extra time to prepare, but we're ready to go. Well, we could play tomorrow, but the coaches will always take the extra time. So go Sharks.
Jaden, what made you want to return, and what are you excited to showcase this season that's maybe something different?
Yeah, there was never really any thoughts about leaving. Seriously, I'm a Wichita kid. Felt like there's some unfinished stuff I have here. I don't like the way the last season, the taste it left in our mouth, and I'm ready to come back. I was ready to come back and end it on a better note, for sure.
This one's for all of you. Starting at home for the first time since 2021, I guess, how big is it for fans to see this team early in the year?
I think it's great. I think it's like just first look at the new team. Like you said, we're at home for the first time in a while to start out with, so just a chance for the fans to see new players, new faces, and new impact players. So I'm excited to get going.
Yeah, I think we got obviously an awesome stadium, and it's awesome to get to play at home here. I always enjoy playing at X, so being able to start the season off with the home series is pretty cool.
Yeah, that we wanted to really do a much improved job of getting home games, particularly later in the season. If you look at our schedule, you notice 4-game series and sets on the weekends. That was very intentional. As we move into weeks 2 and 3 and 4, you'll see Thursday nights as the opening night of the series, but that minimizes the amount of midweek games that we have. We're very limited in who we play midweek. Obviously, we love to play KU and K-State, and keeping Oklahoma State's important, but outside of that, you get into 6-hour travel days, and so to fill up our 55, 56 games, we really wanted to establish that at home. And the second thing too, with all of the home games that we have, it gives us an opportunity to coach our players and to maintain developing our players. And you go on the road, if there's 5 or 6 players that are left at home, they're not working with coaches, and that's a big deal as you get into April. But if they're playing junior college baseball a week ago, then the Shockers can certainly play baseball on February 13th at X Stadium. So we're fired up to get it going next week.
Coach, I know you kind of took like a different philosophy to recruiting this year. Just tell me about what has you excited that you've worked with these guys, in the fall and leading up to the season. Just what has you kind of fired up about the newcomers this year?
Well, it's a talented group. These guys will tell you that. The returning players they're gonna anchor it, and but the players around them have a lot of experience, and we can go into detail with that. But I think what's really important in where we are culturally as an industry is in the recruiting process. We all want experience, and we'll take it any way you can get it, no matter what the batting average was. If a player has close to 200 at bats, that previous program liked that player. If the previous player started every game at shortstop, we're interested in that. And I think that was one of the things that we really tried to target. If you look at our 16 guys coming out of the portal, they all had major experience for their teams. You know, at least 15 appearances on the mound, at least 75 at bats at the plate. So Max Koffer was a starter for 2 years, and then wasn't able to maintain that as seasons progressed. So number one was the experience, and then number two, the alignment piece. You know, with so much transition year to year, we had to do, and I had to do a better job of defining what we're about as a program. It happens really fast in recruiting, especially in the portal, summertime. So it's a 48-hour, are you coming or not? So how fast can we communicate to families what we're about, and how quickly can those families communicate back to us what they want? Everybody's got nice facilities, and everybody's got resources or money for players. I think the alignment piece is where the culture piece is going to improve our program, and I felt like I failed at that last year, and that's why I feel like we've got really positive alignment with the culture of our group this year.
Coach, you talked about your returners being anchors for some of these newcomers. What have you seen from them so far in this offseason? What have you liked, and just how important is it for them to be able to lead by example for any time they can for the newcomers that are coming?
Well, we finally got Gustafson in the weight room, so that's a real positive. No, I just starting with Gus. You know, I've been with Jaden now for 2 years. I've seen him progress each year. Same thing with Brady. I've watched these guys progress. I watched Zeb Henry progress last year. What the returning core has done, Caleb Duncan, just being Caleb Duncan, is going to maintain. Carson Richard is a completely different pitcher this year than he was last year. Nico Rodriguez had the best swing of his career yesterday after redshirting. So what the group has done is anchor the locker room, and I'm really appreciative of that. You know, coaches right now are obviously very positive, very upbeat. We're excited about the season. You know, the expectation is the culture is going to go great. But we talk every day about adversity's coming. It's guaranteed. We're going to have a patch where it's not going to go well, whether it be the individual or the group. What I like most, and what I'm so thankful and appreciative of these guys, is their integrity and desire to make Wichita State great again. And they mean it, you know. We didn't have a great season last year, but from day one, Brady and Gus and Zeb and Wash and Dunk and Nico and Rich, they've held that locker room to a standard that says we're not going through that again. We're not going to have entitlement. We're going to have Wichita State first. We're going to have something to prove. And I really feel like these guys, when I say they've anchored it, I really feel like they've truly anchored the beginning of what we want to be the culture. And honestly, I feel like it's my first year here. So you need that. And you got to have it in the locker room. And I think these guys have done a great job of that, just setting the tone of how we want to play and how we want to act.
Yeah, and then for you guys, just the experience that you've had with this program last year, how has that kind of motivated you into this season? What are you kind of looking for to kind of push yourselves with that experience?
Yeah.
I'm just looking to grow my leadership role, really. You know, I'm not the most talkative person when it comes to trying to be a leader, but I'm going to lead by example. And I think that's just what I've tried to do so far, just trying to be tough, trying to show that I'm competitive, and I kind of just want that to trickle down to the whole team. I think last year we just kind of had, you know, when things went wrong, we kind of laid down instead of fighting, and I've always been the type of person when things don't go right, you got to get up and fight, and I think we got a lot of guys who have that same mentality, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to piggyback off that as well. I think improving my leadership role as well. I was put in a leadership position last year. Didn't probably do as much as I could have, hindsight looking back. But I think it was a learning experience. Kind of like he said, I don't think that we built players-wise, you know, a team locker room that was able to, you know, kind of still be tough with that adversity that we hit throughout the season. And that's definitely not something we're letting happen again. You know, a bunch of new guys coming in. The good news is those guys, like he said, they're all old, they're experienced, they are really competitive. It is a complete turnaround in the, you know, at least vibe of the locker room that I've seen in the past 2 years. So I'm excited for this year.
And Coach, the USF game in the conference tourney last year, having to evaluate, what did that look like for up this fall and spring?
Yeah, that's a great question. I alluded to that a little bit earlier. Clearly we expected to see some of the holes on the field, in terms of being better balanced on the mound left and right. Certainly having a more athletic roster in terms of being able to steal bases or manufacture, particularly early in the season. Right now it looks like southwest winds on opening day, and I'm certainly looking at it, but that seems strange. I would expect that to be more north and cold and blowing straight in, and needing to win a game 3-2 on a Friday with pitching and defense. So understanding that was going to be really important for us. But again, when we were looking at it, I started writing down as we were going to go into the recruiting process in the portal. I just felt it was critical from the coaching staff, and knowing that we were probably going to have some new coaching staff members, that we were all sending out the same message to the recruits. And the most important question that I think you can deliver to your players in the recruiting process and then on to your current players is, what are we going to deliver as a coaching staff, and put that on us from day one. We put it on us in recruiting, and I really do truly think that that's helped in the alignment. Our vibe is very good right now. Obviously 3 weeks from now, you get some guys on the bench, that vibe could change, but it's not going to change too dramatically, because we've got a lot of leadership. But I would tell you, alignment number one. And then two, balance was the most important thing for us, not being so one-dimensional, being able to write a lineup out where you could do one of three things, and not just be one-dimensional with power or just short and speed, things like that.
I've got one for each of you. I'll start with Jaden. I don't know if you remember, we chatted about a year ago.
Yes, sir.
Over the summer, and you and I were kind of talking about your steady progress, and obviously coming off your best season. Being a local kid from Mays, and with this being your senior year, take me through your emotions right now as the season's about to get started.
I mean, it's crazy. I feel like I was just a freshman. Everything feels like it's happened really fast, but like you said, I feel like I've seen steady progress. I've seen myself grow a lot, mentally, physically, everything, and it's just been fun. Obviously last year wasn't the season I would have liked to have had, but I'm ready to get going this year and have a better year and hit it off the way I want to.
And Brady, for you, you've kind of seen yourself elevate in the starting rotation. Kind of take me through being an upperclassman now, what that experience has been like, and kind of seeing the guys in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I think my role kind of this year, and something that I'm going to be doing a lot better job of, is like, what can I give to some of those younger guys or newer guys coming in. My freshman year, you got guys like Caden Favors, who was the Friday guy on that staff, and I didn't realize until kind of now, being an older guy now, how much you really learn and watch those older guys as you're a younger guy or a new guy to a program. So just doing what I can, helping out the pitchers on the staff, whether it's with in-game stuff, maybe how we go about our business off the field, just kind of doing my part, being open to all those guys so they can develop as well.
And Coach, finally for you, I know you kind of talked about how this roster is very athletic. They kind of have a different feel to it. If you could single out one big thing that you've noticed in terms of these two young men and how they affect the rest of the roster, what would it be for you?
Their consistency every day would be one, and sorry, I've got to give you two, but how much they care about this place. They want to see this place great. I'm really just sitting next to these two guys, but honestly, our returning core, because last year was a very challenging year. It was really the first one of those I've had as a head coach, and these guys were like, it's so easy in today's era, and the opportunities that you have for all of us just to say, I'm out. And these guys went with, no, not only am I coming, we're going to fix this thing. And that just makes me really proud. So I want to see greatness for these guys. I said it at the first pitch banquet. I asked Gus if it was his mom who screamed out when I said it. But I said, I want to see Jaden Gustafson raising a trophy. That would mean a lot to me. I want to see Brady go out as a huge draft, because he deserves it, and he works hard. And I want to see these guys have tremendous success because of how much they care, and it's very evident. I think the biggest challenge for these guys early on is going to be the pressure of performance, and the pressure I'm going to put on them is they're going to perform, but when they don't, just maintain that care that they have, and not maybe go back a little bit if Brady's not throwing a shutout. That doesn't mean he can't lead anymore. If he gives up 6 because he made a couple bad pitches, he's still a great teammate and a great leader. And I think that I'm really trying to send that message to these guys, but I think they're showing that every day. They're very consistent in their habits and their care about Wichita State.
Brady, kind of explain why was it important to you to come back and try to fix it?
I mean, I think I really like the coaching staff here. As a player, I think it's really important. What are your goals, right? What do you want to do with your career? At the end of the day, I'm trying to play professional baseball. I am a much better player and pitcher than I am when I got here. Big thanks to Coach Clags and the coaching staff that I've had here. The other thing is I've been able to play a lot, right? And I think the two things you need to make it professional baseball is you got to develop and you got to play. So I realize that this is a really good place for me to do that. And to be honest, I can't stand losing. I'm a pretty competitive player. I can say both of these guys are too, and so is our clubhouse. So if I'm going to come back and be on this team, we're going to have a good team. I had a conversation with BG in the summer, and it's like I want to be on a good team, and we talked about it. And like this team's going to be good this year. There's no other option.
And Jaden, you briefly mentioned some impact players. Does anyone come to mind right away?
I'd say Jason Jones, Jack Quick. There's a lot. I mean, like I said, we have a really new team. There's a lot of guys that I can name. But yeah, just like I said, I love the competitiveness. We've had a lot of indoor scrimmages that show the competitiveness, and I love that type of stuff. So yeah.
Coach, I know it's early, but like names that are going to be involved in the weekend rotation. I know pitching is always going to be very important. So who are some names that fans should get to know that are going to be in that mix for the weekend rotation?
Yeah, I'll have to talk to Coach Glaggett, but I think Hamilton might be in there. But some of the new guys for the fans, Matt Kuchis, Johnny Nuanez has been really good for us. Ethan Rogers was a big high school recruit for us. Mitchell Johnson is going to be a guy that you're going to see. Really impressed with our portal pitchers, Amar from Northwestern and Brady from Georgia State. These are guys that you're going to see a lot of. But I think you're going to see the best job that we can do of left and right, especially early with 4-game series. Reese Cordham's another name that you're going to want to watch. A guy who threw 80 innings at Fort Scott. He's a big 6'5" left-hander who can move it around. So we like the opening weekend look. We've been training for 6 pitchers right now to figure out which 4 are going to go. And we'll have that meeting after Saturday with the 4 guys that we're going to go with. We want to see one more scrimmage. We've got a pretty good idea of who those 4 are going to be, but we'll make sure that after Saturday's scrimmage, we'll sit these guys down and tell them where they're going to be and start getting their mind right on prepping to get it going.
You lose a big piece in Mauricio Mion last season. Do you think anybody has stepped up into that leadership role behind the plate?
From the catching perspective, I think you're going to see a little bit of a committee situation. One guy we've got he's probably still a couple of weeks away, but Max Coffer coming out of South Carolina and Texas A&M is very skilled defensively. If we can put his bat together, then he's going to play pro ball. But he can really, really receive. That was one of the things that Mo was so good at in his career. Last year he was grinding for us with a hand that wasn't 100%, but I really felt like hiring Colin Wilbur and hiring a true professional catching coach was going to majorly impact this. I know Brady would tell you, thank you, coach. We're stealing strikes, and we're keeping strikes in the zone. Max is one of them, and Gonzalez, Ethan Gonzalez, Gonzo he's a tough, played for a national championship, junior college, hit double-digit home runs. He's tough, he's physical. Those 2 guys out of the gates are going to be, heading it as we move into a 4-game weekend, but those are the fun things to watch. We talk about no mutes, and those guys, they're working very hard to be very vocal. And I bet Brady would back up that he enjoys throwing to both of them, and we actually have a third that they like throwing to. So our catching core has been outstanding. They work and they receive. So it's much different look for the fans. It's much deeper.